Okay, if you would just indulge me for 1 second, I just want to wipe a tear away from my eye like Ric Flair and say how proud I am of my family. I mean, my dad, he still got his Universal title shot, and my brother, Adam Pearce, he went and got one over Roman Reigns, and who the hell goes and gets one over Roman Reigns? Now I've barricaded my door because I'm a little worried he's going to come round, but I also made sure I bought a special chair, so if he does barge in here, I'll be like, oh, Roman Reigns, there is your chair, he'll sit in it, and he'll be happy again. I hope. But my name is Simon Miller, thank you for joining me again. It is time to up those downs for SmackDown, and just to kind of summarise it and throw some positivity into the world, what a terrific show it has become. I'm finding myself investing more and more every week. Let's up those downs. Roman Reigns started this week's episode of SmackDown wearing a t-shirt that said the head of the table. Like he's just going to walk around the place and head into restaurants and just point at it and expect somebody to get him a magic seat. The man is a hero. He and Paul Heyman were also looking over the contract for their Royal Rumble match because, of course, at the end of SmackDown, we were going to get a contract signing because when you are watching any kind of wrestling program, especially WWE, you're not allowed to go through a 3-week cycle before we get another contract signing. Otherwise, aliens come down and go pew pew and they kill us all. UFOs and extraterrestrials just love this kind of shtick. Reigns wasn't happy though, because Reigns is never happy, and he told Paul Heyman to go and sort this out because in his current guise, he ain't signing nothing. So off Paul Heyman ran, and this was the tease for a start of quite a big angle that I thought had a wonderful ending. It also then continued in the ring because out came Jey Uso, and Jey Uso has officially lost his mind. I mean, he has been manipulated to the nth degree, and he don't even know who he is anymore. Although on a quick side note, I do want to point out, WWE now have these new cameras, there's a camera, they have these new cameras to shoot wrestlers' entrances. Oh my gosh, they look amazing. I felt like I entered a different dimension, and now my new dream is to be filmed using one of these cameras. It's probably never going to happen. Jay was just telling us how great Roman was though, and basically just doing that thing I do, and I go, oh, Roman Reigns, you are so great. But he also told us that 1, he is entering the Royal Rumble, 2, he's going to win the Royal Rumble, and 3, when he does, he's going to go over to Raw, he's going to win the WWE title, because whether you are on Monday nights, whether you're on Friday nights, or whether you're on Wednesday nights, everybody should be more appreciative of our tribal chief, and as they're not, he's going to sort it out by winning gold. It's like a flippin' hostile takeover. Jay then also remembered that he doesn't like Shinsuke Nakamura anymore, even though last week Shinsuke Nakamura didn't do nothing. He just won. As ever, we were just waiting for Shinsuke to arrive because it is WWE, and when you utter somebody's name, they will appear, and he did. But I don't care about any of these tropes because he's gone back to his old theme music, and I think he's just had a magical face turn. Now, 9 times out of 10, I would appreciate an explanation, but pushing Nakamura in any kind of sense is all right with this bald a-hole. Shinsuke also got on the mic and said, well, Jey Uso, if Roman Reigns is the big dog, you must be his little puppy. And Jey Uso, was so offended by this. I was like, nobody would be insulted by that. It's barely an insult, but it did mean they fight. It did mean they have a match, and it did make me happy, so let's get it up. Absolutely loads happened here as well, not least the fact they had a really good back and forth. For starters, the commentators made us know in no uncertain terms that Shinsuke Nakamura has a real problem with Roman Reigns, so surely we're going to be heading in that direction at some point. But they also wanted to know why Cesaro hadn't helped out last week. Then on cue, out came Cesaro and he joined the commentary team. He tried to explain that the reason he hadn't been around is because Tropicana Field, where the Thunderdome is big and he got lost. So straight away I was like, no way, Mr. Swiss Superman, that is not true. And now I'm kind of getting doubly excited that maybe we're going to get a little program between Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. I need to see those matches. It's as important as oxygen. It's not true, because if I'm deprived of oxygen, I'll die, but I wanted to exaggerate it up to the nines. Cesaro also threw himself into the Rumble here, so if you are keeping track, 99.9% of the entire WWE roster is just allowed to declare themselves, apart from Drew Gulak. Poor Drew Gulak. Uso spent all of this time just whipping Shinsuke's ass before he got back in control by doing this sliding knee thing, and then he slid into another position and did a German suplex I am convinced he has been inspired by Gears of War. There was a great bit where Nakamura went for the Kinshasa, but Jey Uso smoked him with the super kick instead. Then he went to the top rope and he tried to hit him with the splash, but Nakamura got the knees up. This was fitting together like my hands did just then. Usually I missed and smacked myself in the face. Jey also tried to cheat here when he had Nakamura in a pinning position and he put his feet on the ropes, but thankfully Charles Robinson, even though he had gone 1, 2, 3, saw this and said, it ain't ending like that. Shinsuke then did hit the Kinshasa, he did get the 1, 2, 3, and the man from Japan is back, and it makes me feel good right here. You know what this is called? Your tum-tum. Or if you want to be an adult, your stomach. Ridiculous. I have no issue with this at all, and he stood with Cesaro in the ring afterwards, and they were like, oh, we are the best, we love each other, and I was like, no you don't. That's Cesaro, he's gonna turn. Paul Heyman was then in the back with Adam Pearce, who was also accompanied by Sonya Deville, so she's like his new best friend or something like that. And even though he went on a bit of a tirade, his main point was he passed the contract over and went, it's gonna be a no disqualification match when you take on Roman Reigns at the pay-per-view, as if he was some kind of mob boss. Interestingly, Adam Pearce was fine with this too. He had no problems, like, yeah, I'll sign whatever the hell you want. And that's when your eyebrow was supposed to go up, because what did he have in that bald brain of his? Well, no, his brain isn't, but you take my point. Jey Uso was also then just losing his mind backstage and yelling at Charles, Mr. Robinson, the referee, because he felt like he had screwed up, even though Jey Uso had just been caught. So this whole Reigns clan, the family, they are running amok, and we need Superman. Imagine Superman did turn up. What a rubbish arc for that comic book character it would be. Although if you have read some of the stories featuring Superman, you will know they would probably do it. Quick interview with the Street Profits next. They are sad. Oh man, Kayla Braxton was on full-on trolling mode here because she said, look guys, did you really think it was a good idea to have a title match 7 days after Rudolph, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler had whooped your ass? And they were like, well, no, probably not, but we just can't say no to a challenge. I was like, oh, okay, well, then I will challenge you, the Street Profits, to a tag team match. And it can be a handicap bout, or if somebody out there would like to join me, we can do this too. I didn't know it was that easy. I look forward to having some fisticuffs. Dawkins and Ford did also promise to win their championships back. And I'm going to presume we have a rematch at the Royal Rumble, but I kind of want them to lose. These belts feel far more important when we have them on guys for a long time. And then, my word, my excitement gland, which was here, was activated. Because we cut to Roman Reigns' locker room, and do you know who he was talking to and probably secretly manipulating? None other than Apollo Crews. Now the nerd part of me was shouting, no Apollo, get out of there, he's gonna get in your head and he's gonna, steal your face and he's gonna lie to you and you don't know what's going on. But the story part of me was like, this is absolutely fantastic. I mean, Apollo Crews, he has kind of been struggling for wins recently. Plus, Roman Reigns should be going around trying to recruit people into this clan. I need it. I need it in my life up. Paul Heyman then barged back in and he was so happy because like, Roman, I've sorted out the contract situation for you and it is going to be a DQ match. That's not what Roman wanted. This was like giving him a PlayStation on Christmas when he wanted an Xbox. Looked at Paul, it was like, dude, I told you to make it a last man standing match. I ain't signing this, I'm giving it back to you, and now I consider it taken care of, or wink wink nudge nudge, you better take care of it, otherwise I'll eat your kids. What I realized from all of this is that Roman Reigns is so high maintenance. Imagine you were his friend, you would be exhausted. Still though, all of it was just so well put together. Everybody involved in this story is smashing it like, I don't know, glass. Stone cold. Natalya and Liv Morgan then had a decent match, and the Riott Squad were also accompanied to the ring by Billie Kay, who then sat on the commentary team, and she is just go good. I know I say this every single week, but she's a goof, she's a moron, she says absolute ludicrous things, she entertains me, as did the fight in the ring, so it's getting it up. Sadly, it was ruined by the finish, because we are barely 2 weeks into 2021, and when I bring down my distraction board, there it is, we mark it up to 10. How are we in double figures already? We've only had like 3 WWE shows. We just need to stop doing it, and very sadly it means I have to give it a down. But yeah, Tamina, and there is nobody meaner, was kind of scaring Billie Kay here, and she freaked out so much that she ran in the ring, and Liv Morgan couldn't believe that another human being had entered the squared circle, so she was distracted, and then Natalya used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and she got the 1, 2, 3. I mean, we have seen it all the time. And sometimes people message me, and they say, Simon, I don't think the roll-up is the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. moment. Dude, I had a counter. In 2020, the surprise roll-up beat over 100 people. I will stand here, get my watch going. I will stand here. You tell me what other move beat that many people. The answer is that there are none. I mean, Morgan could have just won here thanks to Billie Kay. I personally think that would have been a little bit more interesting. Baron Corbin then took on Rey Mysterio, and this too was really good. The story is that Baron and his Knights of the Lone Wolf really want to beat up Dominic Mysterio because they think his dad is trash. Now, the Knights weren't here on this evening, which was a little bit confusing, but given that WWE has suffered some COVID outbreaks recently, I'm just going to assume it has something to do with that and leave it. Dom also joined Corey Graves and Michael Cole on commentary and told us that his big resolution for 2021 is to win the tag team titles with his father, and I realised that, oh my gosh, if that does happen, I am just going to be crying like a baby because it will be so emotional. And unfortunately for Rey Mysterio, he got caught outside by such a hard clothesline by Baron Corbin, I was worried his other eye was going to roll out of his head. It led to Baron getting in Dommy Boy's face and trying to wind him up, but he wasn't going to do anything because he could understand this would get his dad DQ'd and he respected his family too much. Or at least he did for around about 5 minutes. Because it all built to such a degree that Dominic did feel like he had to attack Baron, so Baron beat him up and then Rey Mysterio was on the outside trying to sort it out, and by the time he got back in the ring, he got smashed with the end of days. 1, 2, 3, Baron Corbin gets the victory. And also WWE, can we please start singing the praises more for the end of days? Not only does it look absolutely brilliant, but it beats everybody. That should be a narrative in itself. The only shame here was the finish, and that's not because I didn't like it. I actually did, but once again, WWE has just gone to the well too many times. And we know this because of the distraction board. Clearly Rey had been distracted by his son. So it goes up to 11. I once again implore those at World Wrestling Entertainment to only use this when you have to, such as here, because it will have a bigger impact. Once again, very depressingly, I gotta give it a down. I don't even want to, this was very entertaining. Paul Heyman was then back with Adam Pearce, and you could just tell on his face he was a little bit scared about what he had to do, because although he tried to sell this idea of Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns in a last man standing match, he basically gave the contract to Adam and then ran away, and he was like shouting, you just sign it whenever you want, and if you don't want to sign it, well, you can bring it up with Roman later on, but as far as I'm concerned, I have taken care of it. Poor Paul Heyman, soon, and I mean very soon, he's gonna get it. So then had a really weird chat between Rey Mysterio and his son. Like, Dominic was all wound up because Baron Corbin, and Rey was like, man, you gotta respect these people, and he was putting Corbin over. But then he went, don't worry, I've got an idea, and we're gonna go talk to someone next week. And I was like, who the hell are we talking to? It better be Murphy, because if Murphy doesn't turn back on WWE TV soon, I'm gonna have to ring the cops and report him missing. Where did he go? Okay, now look, does WWE rely too much on some of its old ideas? Yes, they do. It's not a contract signing, it's a distraction finish, or it's something else, and then a talk show comes along and you're like, why do we need so many talk shows? However, Bayley had a new one this evening. It's called like Ding Dong Hello, and it is one of the most ludicrous things I have seen in ages, and it is getting a very easy up. I mean, for starters, the set has a fake door and a cushion for Bayley to sit on, and when she introduced her first guest, which was Bianca Belair, not only did she make her ring the doorbell, she also made her go through the fake door. You have no idea how much I enjoy stuff like this. Instantly, I was like, well, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Hyperbole again. Belair took Bells' seat and she was like, well, I wanted to stand anyway, and then started to tear apart Bianca because she doesn't care what she did in the past, she doesn't care what she did at school or high school or college, she cares about what's going on right now, and if I remember, what's going on right now is that Bayley recently beat Bianca Belair. It's because for all these reasons, she now wants the EST to compete in an obstacle course next week, and I tell you, I never expected those words to come out of her mouth. I kind of did a double take like, an obstacle course? But okay. The thing is, Belair is a legitimate super athlete, so if WWE sets this up right and allows Bianca to just absolutely kill it, you're gonna get her over as this really powerful and strong babyface, which is exactly what you need to do. Also, if Bayley's gonna do it too, she's a massive goof, she can just absolutely fail. I think that could be okay. And I do like the feud, don't get me wrong, but I will admit that structurally, it's all over the place, because, you know, Bayley has already won, but maybe they have their big blow-off at the Royal Rumble, or they have a clash in the Rumble itself. Point is, it's fine. We were backstage with Daniel Bryan, Otis, and Chad Gable after this, and they were doing these weird hip thrusters as they warmed up, and I tell you, it brings the peace I need in my heart. Daniel Bryan then got interviewed and reminded us that he is going to win the Royal Rumble, and he's going to beat Cesaro later on, which was handy because then Cesaro arrived, and they kind of yacked at each other. And then we went to the match. And of course, it gets an up. You could have Cesaro and Daniel Bryan wrestle 100 times on the same show, and I would give it 100 ups because they are so good. Up. If you need any proof that Daniel Bryan has decided to use any star power momentum he has less to put everybody else over, Cesaro, who never wins, actually got the victory, and this has now led me to believe that Daniel Bryan is winning the Royal Rumble, because WWE loves to do stuff like this. When you're like being geared up for a big victory, you lose, and everything's okay because you win the Royal Rumble. He's my pick. They just murdered each other here too, including at one point Daniel going for a kick, missing, and just throwing his leg right into the post, and obviously Cesaro jumped right on that like a moth to a flame, or like me to pizza. Bryan did have a few flurries though, including at one point applying the yes lock. But do you know how Cesaro got out of that? He just attacked Daniel Bryan's leg, because of course he did. That limb was like 0 HP. He followed it up with a big swing into the sharpshooter, and that spot is always going to tickle me in the armpit because it's just so damn good. But then Daniel Bryan went for a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Cesaro stopped him and reversed it into a suplex from the second rope. And I just threw my arms up in the air and I was like, how the hell did they do that? It was faboo. It also reminded me that these guys are not from this earth, and for the second week running, Daniel kind of made a mistake as he was running towards the corner, because Cesaro was able to get around that and hit the neutralizer for the surprise win. And fair play to Michael Cole, he saw this like it was the greatest moment of Cesaro's life. And within the world of WWE, maybe it was. But again, if we are actually about to push both Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, I don't know what universe I've entered into, but things are starting to look a lot better. And then Sasha Banks and Carmela had a little bit of a thing backstage. I mean, it was all right. Carmela was there being interviewed. She said Sasha Banks sucks. So Sasha Banks arrived and she attacked. And the long and the short of it is that she will give Carmela another title match, but she wants to take on Reginald, the servant butler dude, first. He didn't say a word during this, which is weird. He's just looking, smiling all the whole time. He should have said one thing, and the only thing I don't get is why would Carmela ever get another title shot? At the last pay-per-view, Sasha Banks just whipped her ass. But whatever. We are definitely doing something with Roman Reigns and Apollo Crews too, because he was out here for a match with Sami Zayn, and the commentators wanted to remind us, oh man, do you remember earlier when Apollo was talking to Roman Reigns? So I smell that something is up. Sami Zayn also arrived here with his film crew to record his new documentary about how there's a massive conspiracy against him, and I would actually watch that, so I hope they make it up. The highlight of the whole thing though, and this is no disrespect to Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn, was Big E, the Intercontinental Champion, who was on color commentary here, but was lying on a sofa and wearing a jumper that had the Ghostbusters logo on it. I mean, I swear, this guy is my spirit animal. Somehow have him win all the titles. Apollo was well more aggressive from the bell too, like somebody had told him to do that, including going to the outside and taking Sami Zayn's head and smashing it into the announce table. And then he hit like a German suplex, he hit an enziguri, he hit a standing moonsault, or a spinny thing, whatever the hell he did. And if Sami Zayn hadn't got his knees up, Apollo probably could have won right there. Sadly, it did end with the usual WWE shenanigans, because Sami Zayn went to use the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but he held the tights. But Apollo, who had a really strong ass, was able to push out, and then he applied the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. But the thing is, and where my sad face went to a happy face, is that Crews held the tights too. This time the ref didn't see it. Done. But that small touch got me intrigued, especially because afterwards he got into a shouting match with Big E over the IC title. So I was like, maybe Roman Reigns wants to add that championship to his stable, meaning that Apollo Crews just got big dogged. No, wait, he didn't get big dogged. That sounds absolutely terrible. All this was great. And that was also true for our main event angle. Once again, Roman Reigns, you are 100% my head of the table. Up. Everybody involved was out here to sign the contract, and Reigns straight away was just so good. Because Adam Pearce was sat there and Reigns decided, you're in my chair, I want to be the head of the table. But the little smirk he did, his whole asshole nature, he could not have been better here, and I was laughing my ass off. He also got his like a good bad guy and a good heel. Every now and then they need to get their comeuppance. Because when everybody had signed, Adam Pearce just popped up like, haha, fine with me. And Jay and Paul Roman were like, wait a minute, that seemed a little bit too easy. And as Pearce was walking up the ramp, he hurt his leg. He didn't really, but he hurt his leg. And he was like, well, what are we going to do now? As it turned out in the contract, and this is why Paul Heyman is going to be murdered next week, it says that if a competitor does get injured, whoever is in charge, e.g. Adam Pearce, is allowed to find a suitable replacement, and he's got one right now. And of course, It's Kevin Owens, who returned to SmackDown. That's your Royal Rumble match. SmackDown went off the air. This is good storytelling, and I hate myself for doing this weird motion. See, everyone was losing their mind that it was going to be Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns at the Rumble. Let this stuff play out. This is good long-term storytelling. It's, help Kevin Owens kind of take a couple of rungs up the ladder, even though he will lose, but I don't care. I think SmackDown, like I said at the start of this show, is terrific. And if you want to come at me, well, I've got a sword somewhere. I don't, but I will fight you. I won't really, I'll just listen to your opinion. But overall, is getting it up. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's SmackDown. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Then go to WhatCulture.com. Then follow us on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. And watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. It's the weekend. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you for joining me as always. I'll see you on the next one.